Look around your room. No, really look. That guitar collecting dust. The camera you swore would change your life. The coding course you abandoned halfway through. The gym phase. The business idea. The notebook filled with plans you never finished. If you are someone with an overactive mind, you are not just looking at clutter, you are looking at a graveyard. A cemetery of unfinished identities. Ghosts of people you genuinely believed you were going to become. And if you are honest, part of you secretly feels ashamed of it. You watch other people pick one lane, one career, one obsession, and somehow they stay there for years. Meanwhile, you become obsessed. You disappear into entirely new worlds. You stay awake researching, learning, imagining. You swear this time will be different. Then suddenly, the excitement fades. The obsession disappears, and your brain quietly moves on. The guitar goes back into the corner, the project dies, and the cycle begins again. People call you scattered, undisciplined, flaky, a quitter. Society has a brutal word for people like this. Dilettante. Someone who lacks the discipline to specialize. But what if you have been completely misled? What if your chaos is not weakness? What if your unfinished hobbies are actually evidence of a rare cognitive advantage? Because psychology suggests something uncomfortable. The future may belong to people exactly like you. For decades, the world rewarded specialists. People who chose one lane and stayed there forever. One skill, one identity, one predictable path. Psychologists call this a kind environment. Like golf or chess, the rules stay stable. Practice one thing long enough and eventually, you win. But look around, does the world feel stable anymore? Technology changes every month. Industries disappear. Artificial intelligence replaces skills people spent years mastering. The rules keep changing. Cognitive scientists call this a wicked environment, a world where certainty dies. And in a wicked environment, hyper-specialization becomes fragile. Because when the ground moves, specialists struggle to pivot. But maybe your brain already understood this. Maybe your obsession with random interests was never failure. Maybe it was preparation. Because when you jump between hobbies, your brain is doing something remarkable. Psychologists call it far transfer. Most people solve problems using the same tools they already know. But your brain works differently. You move between worlds. 1 month, psychology. The next, filmmaking. Then fitness. Then coding. Then philosophy. And even though none of it seems connected, your brain is quietly building bridges. Imagine someone obsessed with both software and gardening. At first, they seem unrelated. But suddenly, that person starts understanding systems, growth cycles, and invisible patterns differently. They solve problems others cannot see. Because innovation rarely comes from people trapped inside one room. It comes from people connecting different rooms. And maybe that is what your mind has been doing all along. You were never wasting time. The guitar taught rhythm. The gym taught discipline. The failed business taught risk. The camera taught observation. Nothing was wasted. You were collecting tools. But here is where most people like you fail. You try to master everything at once. Coding, fitness, business, reading, self-improvement, YouTube. A new identity every month. Eventually, you burn out. Then shame returns. One season at a time. One deep obsession at a time. You build one pillar, then another, then another. Eventually they connect, and what once looked chaotic suddenly becomes original. This is what some researchers call an M-shaped mind. Not one path. Multiple pillars of depth, different skills, different seasons, different forms of mastery. And in a world changing faster than ever, that might become your greatest advantage. Because nature survives through redundancy, not dependence. If one system fails, another takes over. And maybe your many interests are doing exactly that. If one career disappears, you adapt. If one skill becomes obsolete, you pivot. If one identity dies, another version of you rises. So stop looking at your unfinished hobbies with shame. Those abandoned projects were never failures. They were compressed semesters in the university of your own making. You were learning, preparing, building, without even realizing it. So go back and look at your graveyard one more time. Only this time, see it differently. That is not a cemetery. It is evidence. Proof that your mind refused to stay small. Proof that curiosity kept pulling you somewhere bigger. You were never designed to become one predictable thing. You were designed to become the bridge between many things. So stop apologizing for your strange path. Protect your curiosity. Build your pillars. And let the world underestimate you while you quietly connect ideas they never even thought belonged together.